Stupid bloody bastards. For anyway, I wasn't doing anything.
This one was acting suspicious over at Selena's, the old folks' place.
Stupid old gits.
Okay, just calm down and just listen to
you
everything.
Fat English bastard! I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna kick you so
How can you eat that? Easy. Don't you watch the news? It's official, there's a link between CJD and mad cow disease. I'm fearless, me.
Echo Bravo 11. Ambulance control reports an elderly female with facial injuries at 11 Rotary Court, Barry, over.
Echo Bravo 11, we're on our way.
Something's not right here, boys. The old lady says she's fallen over, but it doesn't look like it to me.
Please, can you stop what you're doing and leave the scene now, please?
It won't be long now, Chick.
What we got?
Old lady, Mrs. Poole. Looks like somebody tried to kill her.
Hi. T.S. Phil Williams. Could you tell me what happened?
It's my Aunt Enid. We found her lying on the floor.
Enid, could you tell me what happened? How old is she?
Just turned 90. Look at her.
Don't worry, they'll take good care of her. We'll keep in touch, okay?
The relatives phoned, they couldn't get an answer. They come down and found her. The door was locked. There's blood all over the front room, on the carpets, on the walls.
Any sign of a break-in?
No, but her injuries are such...
Her false teeth were broken in half.
She could have fallen over a table trying to get to the phone.
Well, with respect, Sarge, you don't get injuries like that from a fall.
How could you afford to pay for that, Les?
Well, it is a birthday, isn't it?
I was thinking about this last night. Now, Mrs. Poole was found here, and blood was found on the carpet here and on the wall here. Now, last night I was thinking maybe she was still moving about trying to get to the phone. Now, there are items pulled out of the wardrobe here. Now, you can draw a line from here to here. Now, on this side, there's no blood on anything. So that means she couldn't have done it. There was somebody with her.
But there is no sign of a forced entry.
She must have opened the door to him.
So where was the phone that was pulled out of the wall?
T.S. Phil Williams? Yeah, what time was this? Right, and you're at home now, yeah? Number 17. OK, Mrs. Bennett, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I think it's important. Better get down there.
Sorry, dear, I was just on the phone. What is it?
Something's happened to Maya.
What?
I saw the milk outside her door and it didn't seem right.
Oh.
So I knocked on Julie's door across the hall. She thought it was strange, too.
How strange.
The elderly often have a perception that we live in a very violent society, to the extent that they won't go out at night. They, in many cases, don't go out in the day because of the fear of crime. When something like this happens, it tends to reinforce that perception. So it affects the quality of life of a great number of people.
Excuse me, are you the police?
T.S. Williams?
I think you're looking for me.
You're Mrs. Bennett, yeah?
Yes, yes. Something terrible's happened to my locker.
Well, where is she?
Top floor.
Right, OK.
Liz.
Hi. Paul? Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Mrs. Wilson, what's wrong?
It's Maya. She's in her bath. I knew something was wrong. The milk was on the doorstep.
Where is she?
Covered in blood, she is.
Where?
There!
Don't try to move. Just stay there. She must have been here all night.
Has anyone called an ambulance?
It's on its way. It's all right, mate.
What's been taken?
It's still being checked out.
Sir! Sir! Just found another one. She's ended up in the bathtub all night. She may not make it.
God alive. There could be others. It's unbelievable. Kevin, get to ARG. We'll have to do a door-to-door. Check every flat. We're going to make sure everyone's okay.
Hello? Yeah. This is DI Kevin O'Neill, major crime.
Building at the far end, first floor, number 25.
Seeing Miss Lucker was a sight that I've never experienced before, and hopefully will never experience again. But it is something that you do have to put to the back of your mind and carry on with the job in hand, and perhaps that gives you more impetus then to catch your man responsible for this.
Hello, Mrs. Poole. I'm DC Venners.
They can't get me here. No, you're safe here, Aunt Enid. Who can have done this to her?
I don't know, but we're working flat out to find him. I'll see you a little later.
I couldn't believe it at the time, but after a few hours I thought, this is terrible. How someone could do this to anyone, never mind a 90-year-old.
It had happened about 3:30 in the afternoon, so it's obviously she'd been lying there for some time, because it was about 8:30 before we actually got down there in the evening. So, you know, what was going through her mind, what she'd attempted to do under those circumstances, we just don't know.
You all right, Phil?
Yeah.
How is she?
I don't know. She lost an awful lot of blood.
Did she say anything?
She can't remember.
Were you able to speak to your witness?
I haven't had a chance yet. I'll get over there now.
You sure you're all right?
You could prepare as best you can, but the sight of someone as small and as elderly as Maya trying to pull herself up out of the bath, and she couldn't, was a sad thing to see.
Immediately my thoughts were the huge implications that we now had with Mrs. Poole being found the previous evening, and now Miss Lucker found the following day. This meant we had two elderly ladies who'd been attacked in their own homes, both of whom were very, very severely injured, and both of whom may die.
Then he said he'd been told that the keys were at a ground floor flat belonging to an elderly lady living on her own. Well, that could apply to me, you see, but equally it could apply to Mrs. Poole at Rosemary Court, over there. And that's what I told him. I showed him, I pointed to her flat. From here, I watched him walk across to Mrs. Poole's. Then a little while later, I saw him coming across and walking over there towards Lime Court. He must have been going to Miss Lucker's.
Do you think you'd be able to make up a photo fit of this man?
I can see both their flats from here.
I'm looking for my aunt, Maya Lucker. She was brought in earlier.
Is it Mrs. Watkins?
Yes?
I'm DC John Venners. Miss Lucker is through here. She's being prepared for surgery.
Surgery?
And the police photographer is with her, but you can see her in a minute or two.
Is it true she's been attacked?
It looks like it, I'm afraid.
But she's okay. Oh, God. Auntie Maya. Hello. It's Jenny.
Jenny.
Hmm? What was that, Auntie? She's worried about the lady who comes to do her hair. She wants me to let her know she won't be able to make it today.
Do you want a coffee, Phil?
Do with something stronger.
CID does have that effect.
She must have been lying there for at least 17 hours. Should have found her last night.
No one could have known she was there. You want to drink this?
I was just yards away. I had no idea.
Don't think like that.
You know what really makes me sick? Not only did he beat them up, he disconnected the telephones, locked them in, and walked away with the keys. He left them there to die.
We'll find him.
This man yesterday,
Have you got your seatbelt on?
he was looking for Mrs. Morgan.
Have you got your purse?
Yes. When I told him Mrs. Morgan had moved away, he asked for a glass of water.
Well, what are you talking about?
The man in my flat yesterday
Your flat?
said he was Mrs. Morgan's nephew, Stephen. But it's not Mrs. Morgan anyhow. It's Miss Morgan. And she doesn't have a nephew.
But why did you let him in?
I didn't let him in. I went to get him some water and he followed me. And it wasn't till this morning I realized he'd been through my bag. What are you doing?
I'm taking you to the police. Now, the motive appears to have been robbery. It looks as though both Enid Poole and Maya Lucker were attacked within minutes of each other.
So, why beat them up?
Perhaps he got angry. We just don't know. They probably stood up to him. They're a remarkable couple of ladies.
Sir, there was money left in Mrs. Poole's flat. If it was a robbery, why didn't he take that?
A good question. We don't know exactly what was taken, but there's a cash card missing from Mrs. Poole's, and some cash has gone from Miss Lucker's. Kevin?
Thanks. At around 1 p.m, he knocks at Mrs. Price's and asks to use her telephone directory. At 1:30, he's at Seaview Flats asking for a glass of water from Mrs. Moore. Our next sighting is here, when he's looking for some keys in the porch. At 3:30, Mrs. Bennett directs him to Enid Poole's flat. Mrs. Bennett saw him again around 4 p.m, presumably after the attack on Maya Lucker. Scenes of crimes are there. There's a lot of work to be done, and we'll see what forensic turn up.
Now, he's still out there. He's very cool, very charming, and extremely dangerous.
Attention, this is a police message.
There have been some serious incidents against the elderly in this area.
Anyone with elderly relatives or friends, please contact them and check that they're fit and well.
I think the community was absolutely shattered. Around the flats themselves, they just couldn't believe what had happened. And with Maya Lucker, she had, being a school headmistress, the community spirit in the Colquitt school was absolutely fantastic.
bruising to the side of the mouth and chin appears to have been caused by him gripping the face between his finger and thumb. And the bruises on the left hand are typical defence injuries from a heavy object.
So he's holding her and hitting her with a weapon?
Perhaps metal or hardwood bar. And she's trying to defend herself with her hands up around her head like this. There you go.
Thanks.
I'm Maya Lucha's niece, Jennifer.
I thought you might be. I'm Brenda, and this is my husband, Gordon.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, thanks.
I wouldn't touch that stuff if I was you. Any news on the attacker? No, not yet. I know it's a bit sensitive and unusual, but we'd like to go public with the photographs of Enid and Maya's injuries.
I'm not sure. I don't think Auntie Maya would like it.
We want to bring home the horrors of what this man has done.
Do you really think it would help?
Yes, I do.
Oh, they helped a lot, because I'm sure that people were so disgusted as to what had happened that everybody, I think, felt that they wanted to catch the person that had done this horrific act.
I don't think words could have conveyed what actually happened there. And yes, we did think about the consequences of showing those photographs. But our view was, let people see what's happened.
Please, open up.
What do you want?
Could you open the door, please? Yes, Williams, DC Evans. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the attacks on Maya Lucha and Enid Poole.
When are they going to let me do the washing up?
They won't be much longer, Mrs. Moore, promise you.
Am I allowed to touch that yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Barry 735209, hello? Yes, he's here. Just a second. It's for you.
All right. Hello, DC James. Great. I'll finish up here first. Okay. They made an arrest.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, he seems to fit. There's blood all over his leather jacket. But he says he was in a fight, and it's his own.
Well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
Who's our man, then?
Thing is, somebody tried to use Mrs. Poole's cash card in Cardiff at 6:10 on the day of the attacks, and our man's got an alibi for that time.
Who is he?
A local man. Got a tip-off.
We now know our man was in the centre of Cardiff at around 6 p.m. on the day. Who knows? He might be on CCTV.
How is she?
She's hardly touched her dinner again.
That jaw probably still hurts.
She used to love her food. All those prizes she won for her cooking.
I know. I met Paul on the way in. They've had to release the suspect.
Why?
He's not the man. His alibi checks out. Back to square one.
Well, as the weeks went by and her mental state wasn't getting better, I wondered if she would make it, but you always hope that there would be especially her mental state would improve. But she was a very frightened lady, and the injuries to her head were very bad.
Come on, Auntie Maya. You can do it.
It wasn't until she'd had the surgery on her face and she felt a little bit better in herself. Obviously, some of the bruising and that was looking a little better, shall we say, after, the fortnight. And I think then that she felt to herself then that she was looking better
and then feeling a bit better about everything.
Yeah, thanks.
Nothing.
The fingerprints on Enid Poole's bank statements. Brenda Mudfoot's.
Oh, all of them?
All of them. Anything there?
No, most of it out of focus. I can't see anyone who seems likely.
This psychological profile says there's a 75% chance he's got form. He's probably got dishonesty and disorder offences, and he knows the area. But he's not local. He doesn't mind who sees him.
Well, that narrows it down a bit then, doesn't it?
Well, as time goes on, it tends to become more difficult because people have helped all that they can. They've told you what they know, and with the passage of time, the useful information becomes less and less.
Right, lads, listen up. There's a report just come through. It's an 86-year-old woman. It's a distraction job.
Where's this?
She okay?
He wasn't violent. It's down the road, in Rumney.
Let's go.
Oh, and take the EFID. Cheers.
All right, friend. Got the witnesses, got the prints, got all this publicity. We should look how bloody find it.
Perhaps we're looking too close to home.
Phil and Paul have just gone off to the Rumney incident, sir.
Oh, good. Thank God she wasn't hurt.
I can't believe he's still operating right under our noses.
Oh, the BBC just called me.
And?
It's an idea.
Good evening. Thursday night, 10 o'clock, Crimewatch. Live, as always. Tonight, the big manhunt in South Wales for the serial attacker there. Well-dressed, well-spoken, apparently charming man who turns on old people with indescribable savagery. We'll show you details of his movements.
You fat English bastard!
I would think he would be about 5'8".
At least we got a call from Mr. Green. We'll put that information into home. Thanks.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. Thanks. Lovely. He doesn't stop, does he? It's going to take weeks to follow up all his actions.
I've just taken a call for a possible sighting in Inverness.
Hello, Dave. Yeah, it's Eric. Listen, do you remember that obnoxious git you arrested a couple of years back? The Welshman. Yeah, he was drunk, acting suspiciously round that old folks complex. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, now listen, I don't suppose you'd happen to remember his name, would you?
Okay?
I'm fine.
Not getting tired?
No. Dear Aunt Enid, just a note to wish you a speedy recovery. I do hope they're looking after you in the hospital. I hope to be able to come to see you soon, maybe next week. Take care of yourself. I'm thinking of you. Love, Tony.
She was so frightened. All she wanted to do was just hold your hand. Most of the time I was just reassuring her and just being close to her. She had many visitors, but her friends were very upset, the ones that came to see her.
I mean, they were both individuals and different things had happened. And with Auntie Maud, I think it was mostly the scarring on the face, shall we say. Whereas with Mrs. Poole, it was mentally entirely different.
Leslie Salter. Is this the last of the Crimewatch names?
Afraid so.
All that work.
Yeah, but it was worth it just to see the super on the telly.
Very handsome he looked.
What's all this?
Leslie Salter's details.
Oh, he's got some form.
Pretty close to home, too.
I'm sorry to bother you. Are these your keys? I found them on the drive over there.
No. No, but they could be my cousin's. She was here earlier. I'll give her a ring.
Actually, I've been looking to buy a house like yours for my daughters and me. Would you mind if I had a look around?
Well, I don't know.
I'll just have a quick look upstairs.
I'd rather you didn't. Please, I don't want you up there. Come down now, please. Come down.
Sorry, were you calling me?
Come down. Please, would you leave?
Of course. You should be careful who you let in, you know.
Can't take this. I'll give Cardiff a call. Hi, Mark. Phil Williams. Have you got anything on Salter's prints? Yeah, okay. Yeah, cheers.
Well?
It's him.
Yes!
We have a positive ID from Seaview, and they're still working on a parcel from the Charles and Di biscuit tin at Mrs. Poole's. But Salter, he's our man.
Brill. Right then. Now all we got to do is find him.
Don't tell Auntie Maya, will you? Not yet. I can't bear it. Not till it's certain.
That's fine, I understand.
I know it's stupid, but in a way, I don't want you to catch him yet. I don't want her to have to face it.
I'm sorry, I wish I could, but I can't tell you anything more. The only address we've got is well out of date. Well, it was 2 years ago. Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck, huh?
He's got no car, so no licence.
Right.
He's never claimed any benefits. He's paid no tax.
Right.
Well, what else can we do to trace him? Even his own family don't know where he is.
Thank you, I'm most grateful. Got an address. 146 Stone Road, Cardiff.
How much rent did you say I owed?
About £800, I'm afraid, love.
£800? I've never owed that much money before in my life.
You do have it, though.
All right.
You ready now?
I think so.
Come on, then, we need to hurry. The bank will be closing soon.
Yes, Williams. DC Wheeler, DC Jones. Is it possible to have a word with Leslie Salter?
He's not in from work yet. What's it about?
It's about the attacks on Meijerlige and Enid Poole in Barry.
What's that got to do with Les?
Can we come in?
I don't know.
We won't get under your feet.
I've only got £600 in my account. I've got some more in the building society.
No, 600 will be fine. Come on.
What time does he normally come home?
About now.
got some visitors.
Leslie Salter. I'm DS Phil Williams. I'm arresting you for the robbery of Mair Lucha and Enid Pool on the 20th of March, and also for the burglary of number 1 Seaview Flats on the same day. Now, you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you say may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
Les, we'll conduct a search of your pockets. You got anything on you shouldn't have? No. You sure about that now? What's this thing?
This one is. Okay. Mrs. Dillis Weaver.
How much is there?
About £600, I'd say.
Correct.
Oh, what's going on?
With who?
Les Salter. He's a detective, you know.
Is he really? It's very interesting. I have some news, Jenny. We made an arrest. We're pretty confident it's him this time.
Sorry.
I thought you'd be pleased.
I am. I am pleased, thanks. Now I'm going to have to tell Auntie Maya.
I think my main worry was that when they knew that they had caught him, my main worry was how Auntie Maya would take it. But I think that was the day that, even though I'd been quite strong, was the day that I broke down.
The biscuit tin at Mrs. Poole's. There's a fingerprint mark with 9 characteristics matching yours. Explain that.
I don't know. It's not mine.
Explain why it's there.
It's not my fingerprint. As I have said, on the 20th of March, I was doing some decorating at Mrs. Riley's house.
All day?
I did go out in the afternoon to B&Q in Pont Prenai to get some tongue and groove.
How sure are you of that?
Positive.
Even though the B&Q at Pont Prenai didn't actually open for business until the following week?
Phil, can I have a word, please?
Interview suspended at 15:32.
DS Williams is leaving the room to talk to DC James.
What can I do for you, Paul?
I've just spoken to the Fingerprint Bureau. They've redeveloped the print on Mrs. Poole's biscuit tin. It's a hit. It's definitely Salter's. 16 characteristics. Full ident.
I better go and tell him the good news.
You do that.
Well, I knew he was finished. His fingerprints were there, his DNA was there, and he's not likely to get much sympathy from a jury. And finally, he'd had to stand there and admit it was him.
You're looking so much better.
I'm so glad to be home again.
But I'm afraid I've got some sad news for you about Mrs. Poole. Brenda called me. She passed away at the weekend. The funeral's next week.
Enid Poole died a month after Leslie Salter pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm with intent.
The evidence had been so overwhelming, he admitted to 17 other offences, including robbery, burglary and theft.
Well, it's a good turnout anyhow.
Yeah, she deserved it. If those two ladies hadn't had the courage to stand up to Salter, he'd probably still be out there.
Is Salter still thinking of appealing?
I don't know for sure. What are you having, Kev?
I'll have a pint of brains, thanks.
I'm just worried if he does appeal, he'll get off. He's already sacked his defence team. Says only pleaded guilty because his barrister told him to.
Usual, Paul?
Yeah, please.
I hear he's going to bring up his alibi again. I mean, I know we blew the B&Q bit out of the water, but it won't stop him claiming he was at the Rileys painting and decorating.
He should be charged with murder.
Yeah, but can we do that? I mean, Mrs. Poole died 9 months after the attack.
Yeah, everyone knows it's the attacker killed her. With the 12 years he's got, he could be out in 6, man.
I'm with you all the way.
Right, Karen.
Hello, Bach.
She had a big 90th
The
birthday
police
party.
persuaded the Crown Prosecution Service they should pursue a charge of murder. They now had to seek the family's permission for what was a highly unusual course of action, a new trial, this time for murder.
I've spoken to the lawyers, and they say there's a strong case for a murder charge.
He'd been given 4 life sentences with a recommendation to serve a minimum of 12, and we weren't sure whether going for a murder conviction would actually increase that sentence or not. But eventually we thought, well, he left them both to die in the first instance, so go for it.
Mrs. Poole was a fiercely independent elderly lady who managed very well. And following the injury on the 20th of March, she began to deteriorate. It was quite clear to us that there was no other cause for her deterioration, and hence there was no other cause for her death.
Would you be prepared to testify to that in court?
Yes, of course.
I think he's quite a clever character. I think that he, before committing his crimes, I think he looks at an area that he wishes to, and the type of people that he wishes to prey on. I don't think he goes out any particular day and decides, I'm going to go so-and-so. I think he spends a lot of time in planning what he does, and I think he is quite an intelligent person. I felt that he deserved to be charged with Mrs. Poole's murder. And I was glad to be there.
Leslie Stewart Salter, you are charged with the offences shown below. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't say something now which you later rely on in court. Anything you say may be given in evidence. At Barry in the Vale of Glamorgan on March 20th, 1996, did murder Enid Bernice Poole, contrary to common law.
If my photos get in the papers again, I'll sue you.
The medical evidence was conclusive. Enid Poole died as a direct result of Leslie Salter's attack. On January the 15th, 1998, at Cardiff Crown Court, Leslie Salter pleaded guilty to Enid's murder. He was sentenced to a further life imprisonment. His minimum term will be 15 years.
He didn't need to do it to take their money or anything else that they had. He did that because he wanted to. I don't know what his motivation was, but there was never a need for it. And I think that's what I'll remember about him.
As far as I'm concerned, with her health as it was at the time, there was no reason at all why she couldn't have gone on and got a centenary. And he just took away her dignity.
Her life changed completely after that night. She'd been an outgoing, happy person, and overnight she became a shell of her former self. And our family is the poorer for her passing.